Welcome to the Fresh Start Family Show. I'm your host, Wendy Snyder, powerful parenting educator and family life coach. And together we are going on a journey to help you expand your heart, learn new tools, and strengthen your family so you can build the family legacy of your dreams. Take a deep breath and get ready to be poured into with some fresh start inspiration. Let's do this. Well, hey there, families, and welcome back to a new episode of the Fresh Start Family Show. We're so happy that you are here. We are here for our three-part series, Reset, Rewire, Reimagine, as we start the new year off strong. And Terry's here with us today. Welcome to the show, Terry.
Hello, hello.
Thanks for being here, babe.
Fresh haircut for this one.
Yeah, if you happen to be checking us out on YouTube, Terry does have his haircut after it was a long time. Terry was looking crazy.
Yeah, I was looking pretty backwoods.
Backwoods.
Yeah.
And the hairdresser did cancel on you like twice or something. So
We're not pointing fingers here, but yeah, the fact of the matter was I was looking, yeah.
I felt like I was married to like a different man, babe. But you look really, really cute now. You always looked cute, but all right, you guys. Let's
sometimes you got to test the boundaries a little bit, like see how far you can go, how much your partner loves you.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, today I'm excited to dive in to the subject of how honesty, humility, and radical responsibility are actually really good things, and how being honest gives you the power to change. So just to give you, I know I recorded alone last week, so you weren't with me, Terry, but last week's episode, we touched on kind of what it looks like to vision strong what you want for your family, and go into 2026 really having just that visual of like, okay, here's what I'm going for. And also the concept of understanding how uncomfortable it's going to be at times, because for many of us, many of our listeners, they are first-time generational cycle breakers, meaning the things that they want in their home with their children was not modeled to them.
Right.
And so they are kind of disrupting a pattern, so to speak. So, we'll talk about that today. What are the things that show up in homes that people have the courage to say, yikes, I might have grown up with this, but I don't want to pass this down and I don't want to repeat this. And it's not bringing joy and peace and safety into the home. But what we talked about a little bit was how our nervous system is more comfortable with what it knows. So it actually works on probability and predictability. And what we want to do as we go into the new year is really base our lives or set our intentions and behave in ways that are based on possibility, not what we've seen done in the past, right? We know that the nervous system is usually conditioned, especially within the first 7 years, but definitely in the first decade, definitely in the first 2 decades. And as we learn to vision strong and lean into that desire of like having a family that is full of peace, full of connection, full of kids that have self-control, intrinsic motivation, a family that is capable of having peaceful conflict resolution or productive conflict instead of brushing things under a rug. Families where people are able to take responsibility for their mistakes without shame. Compassionate discipline is present versus hurting and harming or shaming children to make them try to change. Like, these are all things that our parents want in our community. But for many of them, it's very uncomfortable because they almost can't imagine it because they never had it. They see us live it. We talk about it a lot, of course, in the book. It's like the A to Z of basically our entire parenting journey. Fresh Start Your Family comes out in May 2026. But that's kind of what we touched on last week. And then this week, what I wanted to touch on is just how, again, being honest about where you are and your contribution to the dance really does give you power. And how I think since so many of us were raised in ways, and it really, most people were raised with autocratic parenting in one way or another, right? Like that was just the way it was. Some people have like on the minor scale where like hurting and harming and yelling and reactivity like wasn't huge, but there was still elements of punishment and disappointment and shame when you got things wrong, right? And then you have the scale all the way up to like the people who had the really intense authoritarian autocratic parenting, often combined with high control religion. And that is just like, yikes, it's a lot to recover from. And we see parents all day long do it in our community and choose a different future for their family legacy. But in the beginning, one of the most important parts is to realize, okay, we have these pain points going on, and we are able to see, and or actually I should say, we are willing to at least look at where we might be part of the dance. And so that is the kind of one of the first steps that we teach in our programs that we talk about in the book is that paradigm shifting of like, it's not just this idea that the child is bad. When the child misbehaves, they are bad, which we always think inside kind of makes us bad, but it's not all their fault. Like in a family dynamic, there really usually is some sort of contribution or dance happening. But in society, most of the time that's been teed up as like the idea of humility and honesty and taking responsibility isn't like we're not like star students, at least here in the United States, or I think as humanity, we think that we're going to be like there's going to be a badness to that because we grew up where if you did admit your faults, or if there was a mistake made, or if you had a contribution, there was a price to pay, right? Like there was pain, there was suffering. So it makes sense why we do it. But I've just found so much power in being able to see my part of the dance. And then you feel like, okay, I can do something about this, right? And we were just talking on our way to church this morning about this. It feels uncomfortable to be like, oh, I am contributing. Like I am in some way, and I'm willing to look for it. And then we combine that with once we start teaching parents the actual strategies that it's like a lot of parents just have no idea that traditional punishment is actually what is causing so much suffering and disconnection and misbehavior in their home, right? Like they just have no idea. And then they hear a new strategy, which we call compassionate discipline. And then they start to realize, oh, okay, this is a dance. I've been using this tactic thinking that it is smart and wise. And really, it's one of the things that has been driving our family into the ground. And then you have to be able to be honest and humble with your contribution. That comes down to whether you're a puffer upper like
A
me, which
puffer
is
upper.
like yeller, grab wrist too tight, freak out, or like other people, a lot of people have a tendency, their reactions, as we'll talk about a lot this year, is to withdraw, to avoid conflict, to fix fast, right? Like that's what feels uncomfortable for them is like letting any type of thing roll out. So they become permissive, let the kid do what they want, fix it, do it for them, that kind of stuff. So everyone has different reactions, but we all are playing a part in the dance. So as I say all that, kind of what comes to mind for you as you look at our journey over the last 15 years to embrace humility and honesty as a strength as we look at like where we are contributing to the dance with our kids, with in life, anything.
Well, I think you're putting a few concepts out here. So I would say it takes humility, as you said, just to even take the first step here, or to even understand like what Wendy is laying out for you. I think you have to be in a headspace where you can, without being defensive, without being like, some people end up being hard on themselves or never want to admit fault or whatever. Like, get yourself in a headspace to where you can actually um, consider where you might be showing up and how you might be showing up. And that's also, I mean, if that helps you too, like for things that you'd want to carry forward, as well as things that you think might be
It's true.
taking a step back as well. Because I think the goal here is to create a new default. Like you've got your current default that you want to detach from certain things to not carry forward, and then you have what is your new default, or it's not too much different than habit forming in any other part of your life. It's like you've got your current set of habits that some maybe existed you know in your parents' lives, and then they just became part of your lives, but getting yourself in a headspace where you're humble enough to look at, okay, there is there's a contribution, or so I'm bringing something to the table. Um, what what might be the healthiest things that you're bringing to the table, and what might be the things that if you let go of them, you could replace with a new default, or a new way of doing things, to where life just isn't you're not having to do as much cleanup. I mean, there's still, life is messy. You're still always going to have to clean it, and that's okay. But I think in this, for the sake of this conversation, think about a few ways that you're showing up. And then when Wendy talks about this dance, I think it was really helpful for me early on to realize that, like, if it was, me and our daughter, it's like there is a dance going on, especially if you feel like you're struggling in some way. You are bringing something to the relationship, or something to the situation, and that's what we call the dance. So if it's like, hey, every night bedtime is tough, or getting my kid to do their homework, it's just like, I start in on this, I have best intentions, and then it ends up in a mess, or I end up blowing my lid, or why does this always happen? I think being humble enough to say, okay, um, I'm getting something that doesn't feel good on the other end, but how am I showing up? What are all the things that I'm doing? What are all the ingredients to my part of the dance? And often when you change one dance partner, the other one's left with like no other choice but to try it a new way. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, and that is like the way humanity works. Like we all, especially with our loved ones, we have these like incredible mirror neurons, and we're always co-regulating, or I don't even know what the term would be for it, where you're like dysregulating. Maybe that's just a term. I don't know if that's a professional term, but it is an energetic dance with all of our relationships. And then, like, so when you're blind to what you're doing, and you have like a preconceived notion that if someone points it out, or if you are looking for like, oh, where am I contributing, that's going to make you bad, then that will get in your way of actually ever creating change. And so there is this component where you do have to be ready, right? Like, people can tell you all day long, you can try this strategy or this strategy, but you really have to be ready to honestly say, okay, I'm willing to at least learn and consider a different way and change my path. Um, and learn new tactics, right? Like, when it comes, especially, we're talking so much this year, I feel like, about responding versus reacting. We're focusing so much on nervous system regulation and our fresh start experience, and just the daily practice it takes to like bring safety to your body, and remember that like everything is not, most things are not a four-alarm fire, but like so feels like it in life. And that's what you and I were talking about this morning on the way to church and to way to record today. It's like so interesting how this sense of urgency really pops up in like modern day culture. And it's just such a lie. Like, but the nervous system comes right in and thinks like, crap, we have to fix this immediately. We actually had a really beautiful success story come in last week in our First Start Experience community, and a couple that they were at Freedom to Be with us, and they're just doing such incredible work, like truly, truly first time painful generational cycle breakers. Grew up in high control religion plus authoritarian parenting, so just a ton of reactive parenting, shame filled, punishment filled, and then also put on top of that, like, I'm doing this because God wants me to do it to you. And if I don't, then I'm not a godly parent. So it's just like a lot going on there. And this sweet mama wrote in and she basically said, oh my gosh, both of us today, like, we're in the kitchen when one of the kids, I think it was like a box of Christmas bulbs, they like accidentally dropped this entire box of Christmas lights, and it like they shattered everywhere. Or maybe it was bulbs. I think she said bulbs at some point. And she said it was so wild after so much practice, and this couple has, like, really, really shown up to, like, do the work and find joy in the journey of, like, discovering, "What am I doing?" Like, all this stuff we're talking about. And she said they both, like, looked at each other, and naturally, they were just like, "It's okay." And they went to, like, asking the kid, "Are you okay?" And they said in the past, both of them, or at least one of them, would have flipped their frickin' lid, and, like, we know this happens, like, knee jerk. We saw it on the block a few months ago at a wait, maybe you weren't there, that description about the jumpy house. I told you that story.
Mm.
We react so fast, and the shame comes out of our mouth so fast, and we act like, "Oh my god, it's the end of the world, these bulbs are broken," and then the kid is, like, panicking, and then we're often, like, knee-jerking, and this couple said this was their past history of, like, knee-jerking of, like, "What's wrong with you? Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you be more careful?" So it's, like, shaming, criticizing, scolding, raising your voice, and they said in this moment, they both were just like, "Are you okay? It's okay, it's just a mistake." And they said that their kids looked at them like, so confused, because I mean, I think they're, like, 5 and 8 now or something, and,
Mm-hmm.
like, we did the switcheroo when Stella was 3, so we had been doing the other way for quite some time. We know what it looks like to, like, have a kid be like, "Oh, wait, we're not doing that anymore?" Like, it's a
Yeah.
lot in the beginning to do the switcheroo, but they said that the kids looked at them and they were just, like, so confused, but then they all cleaned up the messes together. Actually, no, no, no. The story is she was so calm and confident in the moment that it was just a mistake, that she could teach this kiddo later how to be more careful, that she wouldn't even let them clean up because she didn't want anyone to get hurt. And normally would say, let the kid clean up a little bit because it helps with.
With shards of glass, yeah.
But it was so sweet that this mama who, like, had this intense childhood where she really was hit, harmed, shamed, scolded every single time she made a mistake. And now she is like, "Hell no, I'm not gonna pass that on, and I'm gonna do as much work as it takes." And this just little micro moment in the
Yeah.
kitchen of this family. And they were just so on cloud 9. They were like, for so long, we felt like it was impossible, and then here it is. We have the data. We can do this. It may seem silly, but, like, we can do this. And so over time, those little moments of, like, okay, that was just some broken glass, but, like, then it becomes, our story of, like, you find out your 14-year-old is, like, smoking some vape and drinking some alcohol on a Tuesday night, and you don't panic. You actually use it to change the entire future trajectory of your life, like we did when we decided to stop drinking 3 years ago. So, yeah, it's just interesting, the ability to look at your own dance and your own part of the dance is so powerful, and it's just I just
Yeah.
am so inspired by the parents who do it because it really does become an adventure.
Yeah, or this kid grows up as ours have, and then something, they have an accident or they've made a mess of something, and they're not afraid to come to you, talk to you about it instead of lying or hiding it, and then you're able to come alongside of them so that they can then clean it up with you as like a support system. Doesn't mean it feels great and you're like, oh, good job making the accident, but like you can be a part of the team, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Well, and that's, like, the story of I did write about it in the book, very I wrote about it in a chapter, is the day that Stella accidentally hit the car in the, high
Yeah.
school parking lot.
Yeah.
Is that
That's
what you
that.
were thinking
Well, that's
of?
exactly what I
Yeah,
was thinking
yeah.
of. Yeah.
And she just called us immediately. There was no hiding, there was no shame, and she was like, "Crap, this crazy thing went down. I swear to God, I did not feel that I brushed this car and it left scratches." Got caught out of my class, like, it was a whole thing, and she came to us, and we were like, over and over again, we're like, "You're sure? Because you can just tell us the truth. If you did feel it and leave, like,
Yeah.
it's okay." And she was like, "I promise you I didn't." But she called us right away, and then that story ends of the person on the other side of the car that got scratched was so, I think, moved by her honesty and her willing to take responsibility right away and not hide or defend or blame, that they were like, they didn't even want any money from her to fix the scratches. Like, they were like, "Don't worry about it. We're selling the car. Just don't worry about it. Like,
Yeah.
thank you for being honest." And, like, everything went on. But, like, she called us for help. Like, I would not have done that. I would have freaking
No,
hidden
you would have
and
like sought so many other like people and friends for counsel, and likely it would have been a mess.
I would cover that shit up.
And let's say you even did say like, oh, the parents found out and they're like, oh, I'm gonna get grounded or this, or there's gonna be something else. I think in the
Shamed,
in the
lectured.
end, you'd look at like, okay, what did the child learn after all that was said and done? I would put the version that we had up against the punishment version or the kid hides version any day of the week, because in the end, it's not like, oh, she thinks she can just go around running into people and it's no big deal, mom and dad will rescue her. We didn't rescue her, we just came alongside of her, she cleaned up the mess, and then now she's extra careful,
Yeah.
even more so than she, like, it's not like it keeps happening,
No.
and it's not like, and it just also gave her a feeling of safety of like, when I'm in trouble, I can reach out to mom and dad. They're actually the first call, not the last call.
Yeah.
And I think that's where like this goal of like wherever your current default is and your future default or what you're aiming for is, I would have to imagine that all of you want to be the first call, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, in order to be that first call, I think, this is where you have to honestly, with a humble 30,000-foot view, be like, how have I typically been showing up? What's the reaction I get on the other side? Are we more connected, less connected? And then like,
Is the behavior going away, right? Like,
is
what
the
is the
behavior
long
going
term?
away? And also, am I coming alongside them in a way too, to where like they're able to kind of work through life and clean up the mess themselves where appropriate? Like, I know in your example, it was like, hey, toddlers with broken glass, they're not going to clean that up. But I think there's so many other instances where it's like, just punishing or having something that was like a big blow up is immediately disconnecting. You put yourself further down on the list of being that first call later in life, and all you've done is put out the message of, if life doesn't go well for you, I'm going to blow up, and I'm not going to be understanding. I'm not going to be in your corner. I'm actually going to be your adversary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so beautiful to model to the kids too that, like, I swear, once we started to really like tell our kids, like, hey, we're taking responsibility for our part, right? Like, we're going to learn a new way, um, and stop threatening, right? Like, we're going to talk about threats next week. We're going to
Nice.
talk about my favorite tool to like replace threats. But or once we started to like take responsibility and be like, we're going to change the way we get you to cooperate. We're not going to yell anymore. Like, I feel like the kids, especially Stella, just really started to respect us more when we didn't act anymore like we were like these perfect angels, right? Like, I think we learned very early on that it was safe to take responsibility as a parent. Whereas again, culturally, that is teed up as like, no, 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 you will lose respect if you admit any type of fault with a child. That puts you in a place of like lowerness or whatever. And then there's also the cultural conditioning of like, if you are a parent and you need help, that makes you weak or you have problem kids or something. And it's just crazy. Like, you look at like sports teams and corporations and like successful places, like everybody has a coach. But like for some reason, with the most important job in the world, raising human souls that are literally the answer to the future of world peace, we're like, no, just figure something inside us tells us like, just figure it out.
Hmm.
You should know what to do. This is basic humanity. It's like, no, it's not, dude. Like, it is. I just have so much respect for the parents who actually slow down, receive some education, some guidance, invest in a coach, and then live the rest of their life out intentionally instead of based on like the past.
Beautiful point. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's part of like, not just breaking a generational cycle within your home. I think that's um, breaking cultural norms and things that have held society back to where you're like, hey, how is our world so disconnected? Or like when people have arguments, why does it turn to violence? Or why are these countries at war? Or how come we can't, two government parties can't like come together? It's like it all starts in the home.
It really does.
I mean, it's like I think it's clear as day. It's like if you weren't ever taught that it was safe to do that, well then you're not going to do that. You're going to approach life as my way or the highway. I know everything. I'm right. You're wrong. Black and white.
Defending,
And
overpowering,
when really
violence.
nobody's got 100% track record of being right about anything. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. And I think also, I think it's important too in here that like, while we have this one subject of this podcast, but if you listen to when we were talking about this between the stimulus and a
That's
response,
coming later. I know you're like, the schedule is all wacky right now. It's okay. You can talk about it,
I
babe.
no, I hey guys, there's one coming up. You might want to listen to.
Yeah, yeah, it's good.
I think yeah.
It's so good.
Hey, keep
You can
them.
talk about
Yeah,
it.
coming soon. It's like the movie trailers that you see for the movies that are coming out later.
Like a
Yeah,
year in advance. I
I'm
have
doing a
so
movie.
much respect for the movie
I'm
industry.
doing a podcast trailer right now. There's one coming up that you're gonna want to listen to. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And that's a good ending point. We're going to keep talking about this at the Empowered Parenting Reset. It's happening January 28th, 9 a.m., 1 p.m., 2 times to choose from, /reset. So freshstartfamilyonline.com /reset. You can go save your date. The registration page is officially open. We'll send you a little prep kit, and we're just excited to be
Show
together
up.
as a community. Show up.
Show up. I
Show
think,
up.
one of the best ways that you can show that you care deeply about your family and that you prioritize that above so many other things in this world that'll tell you, no, this is more urgent or this is more pressing. Um, I think we can all agree that family is number one.
Yeah,
So by signing up, it means that you're agreeing with that.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like family, yourself, God, if God's in the picture for you. Those are like the three big ones, right? And like, I think, again,
Well, you can
coming
have
back,
multiple number ones.
yeah, you can have multiple number ones. And
Yeah.
just coming back to culture, again, we were just talking about this on the way up this morning, is culture really has become so fast paced, and it will tell you and condition you to believe that it is not safe to slow down and take care of yourself and your family. And like, you
Amen.
got to keep pushing, and like, things are more important, the to-do
There's
list.
some
And
thing on the to-do list that somehow is more important than your family.
yeah. And this year we intentionally decided, in the past, we've usually done like a big 5-day workshop series, and it was kind of intricate and had a lot of moving pieces. And this year we just decided to, word of the year, babe,
Simple.
simple.
Yeah.
We are offering our community just a 1-hour class, half hour of Q&A. It is so simple to make it, you guys. So we really want you to go get signed up. We're excited for that. Thanks for being here today. We love you, and we will see you back next week for our episode on my favorite replacement for threats. It's going to be so, so good.